Hi, everyone, and welcome to Scholastic Sports Showcase. Tonight, no pun intended, we kick off another football season. This is Memorial Stadium here in Wilkes-Barre, and it has been renovated. It really looks sharp. And tonight, we've got a dynamite game for you on tap here as the Cavaliers of Scranton Prep have made their way over to Wilkes-Barre to take on the Grenadiers of G.A.R. Well, hi, everyone. I'm Roger Snyder, alongside in the booth tonight, Neil Bennett. And, Neil, when you're talking about these two clubs, you're talking about a couple of outstanding runners. Will McPartland for Tony Cantafio and the Cavaliers, and Harold Jackson for the Grenadiers. What about this matchup?
Well, it should be a great matchup. Last year, G.A.R. had their way with Scranton Prep, winning 33-0. Remember, G.A.R. only lost 2 games last year to Dallas by a total of 14 points. The last time we had them on PCTN in the playoffs. So they are ready. They are smelling victory, and they want it bad. They have one problem tonight. Manuel de Graffenried, their fine running back, injured his leg in spring during the track season. It's a hamstring injury. It's still not fully recovered. His brother, a sophomore, Athea, will see his slot and will play both ways tonight for the Grenadiers. McPartland, on the other hand, is a 3-year veteran with the Cavaliers. He's their top returning yard man. He averaged 3.9 yards per carry last year. Their other offensive threat returning is Steve Colvin. Colvin was almost 20 yards a catch, but he never scored. He never got a touchdown into the end zone. That's the big problem for Coach Cantafio tonight. He's got to get points on the board. He's got to get them up often. He's got a big squad. You look at the roster and you say every boy at Scranton Prep's on the football team. Yeah. It looks that way. But who's here and who's got the talent, that's what we're going to find out tonight. By the way, it's the last time these two schools will be meeting, as next year Scranton Prep will be playing Valley West in the opening game. The reason for that? Coach Cantafio's brother makes his debut just up the river a little bit, right around now, at Valley West Stadium as the coach of the Spartans. So, the end of a brief 2-year rivalry, but it could be a good ball game that's going to answer a lot of questions as we go into tonight's game.
When we talked a little bit earlier to Charlie Fick, he said, hey, scholarship game tonight. And I guess that says that there are things on the line here for a lot of his ball players, and in particular, guys like Alex Janoski and, of course, Jackson. Well, we talked about the brand new turf out here, and this field looks absolutely beautiful. I'd like to point a couple of things out to you so that you have a feel for what goes in to putting a field like this together. Now, you'll notice right here, as we're on the 40-yard line, you'll notice just a little bit of green between this, which is the out-of-bounds line, and the yard marker, about 4 inches. The reason why that is there, that's so that if someone steps there during the course of a play, the official can see the contrast between the green and the white and therefore make his decision. If this line came all the way over and met the white out-of-bounds line, it would be a very tough call, the little subtle things. I know a lot of times, a lot of people have a hard time trying to remember, is the line in or is the line out? Well, in football, here's how you can tell. If you'll remember this big white stripe, which is actually the out-of-bounds line, when you start it here, theoretically, it could run all the way up to the stands. Once you step on it, you're out of bounds. And when you talk about this beautiful new turf down here, follow me from the 40-yard line up to the 45-yard line. You just spent $25,000 for that 5-yard strip. Hey, we'll have more on the pregame show when we return here on Scholastic Sports Showcase.
What matters to you when you think that?
And welcome back on the pregame show. Joining us, head coach of the Scranton Prep Cavaliers, Tony Cantafio. Tony, if you would, give us a little bit of a preview of your club and what we might expect here tonight.
Well, you know, our club is going to be a running football team. Steve Colvin, Will McPartland are 2 big backs. We're going to try to move the ball inside the tackles and play some possession football.
Tony, Will McPartland back for year number 3. Give us a little bit of the progress that you've seen him provide you over the course of the years.
Well, he's really grown up a lot in this last year. He's physically a lot stronger, dropped a few pounds of excess weight, and he's really determined to have a good football season for us.
The key for you in the matchup tonight against G.A.R.?
well, they're so darn talented. We have to make some first downs offensively, and you know, we have to try to control Harold Jackson, I think, on both sides of the football.
Tony, we want to wish you good luck. Thanks for stopping by our pregame show.
You're welcome. My pleasure, Roger.
Tony Cantafio, the head coach of the Cavaliers of Scranton Prep, and we're going to do the handoff here to Neil Bennett, who is standing by with another guest.
And hopefully that will not be fumbled, and this one will not be either. Charlie Fick. Charlie, veteran coach of G.A.R. Last year, 2 losses, both to Dallas, one in the season, one in the playoff. A little extra incentive for this year's team?
Oh, sure, you know, but what we're worrying about right now, you know, we have our goal set for the entire season, but right now, our goal right now is to go out and beat a very good Scranton Prep team, and we got our hands full tonight.
Your key for tonight's game?
Our key is if our kids age real fast. We have a bunch of young kids starting for us, and if they come around, we'll do fine, because we have some good senior leaders out there, but we have to rely on a lot of younger kids to pull us through tonight.
There's one name we've been hearing since last football season. It's that of Harold Jackson.
Who? Yeah, and you're going to hear from him from another year or two here at G.A.R. He's a super football player, super kid, and we can't ask him to do any more than he's doing for us now. He's carrying us.
Thank you very much, Charlie. Best of luck tonight and the rest of the season.
Thank you, Roger.
And I guess we're ready to go play football.
I think we are just about ready to go play football. It's the kickoff for us here on PCTN Scholastic Sports Showcase. We hope you're going to enjoy the football game. It's the Grenadiers of G.A.R. matching up here tonight at Wilkes-Barre Memorial Stadium against the Cavaliers of Scranton Prep. We'll be right back with more after this.
When you want to...
And welcome back. Just about time for the kickoff of the 1995 high school football season. Well, hi and welcome once again to Wilkes-Barre Memorial Stadium here in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. Tonight, of course, it will be the Cavaliers of Scranton Prep trying to, could we say, upset at this point of the season? Perhaps the Grenadiers of G.A.R., Neil.
Well, they're 2-7 last year. G.A.R. was 10-2, so that would be an upset. But right now, all over in northeastern Pennsylvania and all over the state, in fact, dreams are high and so are hopes. Let's hope they turn out the same way on December the 1st.
We've got the perspective from high above the field here, the newly carpeted field, and standing by down on the sideline, who's got the perspective from the field, quite literally, is Canio Costanzo. Canio?
Roger and Neil, thank you. Charlie Fick calls Harold Jackson the best athlete he has ever coached, and Harold Jackson will be a huge key in tonight's ball game. Tony Cantafio says he's the most dangerous defensive tackle he's ever had to coach against. Jackson is a terror on the line. Not only that, he'll be doing the kicking for G.A.R., and he's also an outstanding offensive player. Harold Jackson's only a junior. He's the key to this ball game. So Scranton Prep is obviously going to probably want to double team Jackson. So Fick and the coaching staff will be moving Harold Jackson around the line. He'll play tackle, which is where he's going to start. He's going to play end, and he will play on the nose, something Buddy Ryan did with Reggie White with the Eagles. We'll see how well Mr. Jackson plays tonight. He'll be the key. Roger and Neil, back to you.
Alex Janoski normally does the kicking for G.A.R., but he's still nursing a little bit of a hamstring pull, and that's why Harold Jackson is going to do the booting tonight out here as well.
And G.A.R. has won the toss. They've elected to receive. Scranton Prep will be kicking off, and Scranton Prep will be kicking off from the left side of your TV set to the right, and G.A.R. looking to put it for the first time in this new end zone has the ball first.
I'll tell you, this field is absolutely beautiful. They did a very nice job. The crown has been reestablished out here, and you can count on the fact that if you did happen to get some inclement weather throughout the course of the season, this field is going to drain. Let's give you a look at the way we expect the lineups to occur here tonight. For Wilkes-Barre, up front on offense when they get the ball, Hooper, Lavelle, Rosengrant, Nicole, and Costello. Janik, Falcone, and Wickheiser. Janoski, DeGraff, Reed, and that is not Manuel, but that is Athea DeGraff and Reed. Jackson and Sauerwein make up the balance of the skill people, and we are set to go. Here to kick it off, Justin Davis. And the 95 football season is underway. Alex Janoski from the 13-yard line tries to turn the corner. He's got some room. And he's all the way out to the 46-yard line before he's run out of bounds over there.
Brian James, number 50, made the hit to put Janoski out of bounds as he turned the corner, headed upfield on the far side. But Brian James kept Janoski contained, and the advances from the 14 out to the 44-yard line. A nice return of 30 yards on the opening kickoff for the Grenadiers.
And so G.A.R. ends up with outstanding field position because of this fine run back. One more man was there, and that was the kicker, Justin Davis, to hopefully get him had he not been run out of bounds. Here we go, 1st and 10. Here is Janoski. E-roll option. Janoski, something Janoski to the 50-yard line, stopped on the play by Chris Glenn. Now, Chris Glenn, as a sophomore, played basketball and football, sat out a year, and has come back to play football here once again. Get a look at the defensive set for the Cavaliers. Nasser, Alcaro, Doherty, Salva, and James are the down linemen up front. McPartland and Rossetti are the linebacking core, and the deep men, Recupero, Colvin, Glenn, and Curtis. 2nd down, 4. Janoski, that's the bread and butter. And they pitch this back, and the ball is loose. Who has got it? The Scranton Prep coaching staff says it belongs to them. And they say, no, it's just a loss on the play.
The flip that time from Janoski to Thea DeGraffenried, with him being the sophomore. They don't have the timing down that Janoski has with his brother Manuel, who's out with a leg injury tonight. So that might have had something to do with it on that play. One thing to keep in mind with Janoski, he gets a technical play from the sidelines, but he puts the finishing touches on it himself, and even the coaches don't know whether he's going to keep it on a rollout, whether he's going to flip it to Jackson, or he's going to throw deep.
They put Jackson in motion, looking to throw. Janoski with time. Now floats it up, and a great strip in the middle. Superb play out there to strip that one. Mike Rossetti makes the sparkling defensive play.
That was a case of Rossetti staying home at his linebacker position. Didn't go with the fake. He was right there in the middle. Janoski throwing over the line, and Rossetti right there to take it away from number 31, Joe Janik, a 6'2 junior.
And so Janoski to punt. He'll get this one away from about his own 35-yard line. High floater. It's going to hit at the 24 and be downed by Jerome McClough. And so we'll see what the Cavaliers of Scranton Prep can do with their first possession.
They'll be starting from their own 20-yard line. Not much of a bounce on that punt from Janoski. If there's going to be any hops in this new field, we didn't see them so far.
The officials for tonight's ball game: Bob Herman, the umpire. Bill Ermick is the head linesman. Chuck Suppan is the line judge. Dave Shimshak is the back judge. And Joe Yozviak is the referee for tonight's contest. This is Steve Colvin. And Colvin gets a couple. Actually, a pretty good gain. They're going to give him a gain of 5 on the play. Steve Colvin, senior. 190 pounds, quick kid.
Gain of 5, and 2nd and 5 for the Cavaliers.
And we'll set the G.A.R. defense for you in just a moment. First quarter of action. Thanks for joining us. 2nd and 5 for the Cavaliers. McPartland, first down and then some. McPartland all the way out to the 43-yard line.
And that's Alex Janoski who makes the stop.
McPartland has the first down of the ball game with that romp. Here's a look at Scranton Prep up front. Farrell, Doherty, Salva, Paris, and Alcaro. A lot of guys going both ways. The receiving core: Nasser, Curtis, and Glenn. And Holmes, McPartland, and Colvin. In the backfield, Colvin with the carry. And Colvin gets about 3. We'll call it a 2nd down and 7.
Joe Janik makes the stop. You'll notice the Cavaliers are not running towards Harold Jackson, number 33 on defense for the Grenadiers. They're running away from him, and this time it was 31 Janik making the hit.
That's Jackson, the man that we've been talking about. And you notice where he is on defense. The give is to Brian Curtis. And Brian Curtis is out to about the 50-yard line.
So far, the Prep line being able to move some defenders out of the way for the Grenadiers and making room for these running backs. Tony Catafio said they'll throw when they have to, but basically he's looking for a ground offense, and that's what he's giving so far, moving the ball 30 yards in his first series from their 20.
One of the keys, he told us, is to keep the football. And certainly when you've got the offensive threats that Charlie Fick has for the Grenadiers, you want to do that. Here's the pitch back, Colvin. Colvin cuts it up. Colvin with a first down, and Colvin all the way inside the 30-yard line before he is run out of bounds by Tony Falcone. Steve Colvin, on the 5th play of the Prep drive, produces their 2nd first down and has them in great field position. Spot the football at the 29-yard line. Get another look.
Here we're going to see the run coming up on the far side, and daylight right around the corner there until number 10. Falcone can come up to make the stop. Now, one thing about G.A.R., Roger, they're replacing 9 of 11 defensive starters. So in this first quarter, that may have an effect on this ball game a little bit as these new starters, 9 of them on defense, get used to the action.
Charlie Fick said we're quick learners.
They're going to have to be.
Scranton Prep with 10 minutes and 46 seconds into the game ran their first play from scrimmage starting at their own 20-yard line, and they are at present at the 26-yard line of the Grenadiers. Brian Holmes is the quarterback. He's 5'10", 150 pounds. He is a senior. Colvin, nice cut up. And Colvin is going to get a couple more, and Colvin, one of the mistakes that you see a lot of youngsters make is they always try to get outside. That time, a great move by cutting it up, and Colvin actually set that up and made it look easy to get some yards. Let's set the G.A.R. defense for you. It looks like this. Doherty, Costello, Jackson, and Sauerwein on the line. Janik, Hooper, DeGraff and Reed, and Avini on the linebacking side. Janoski, Falcone, and Wickheiser in the secondary. We go back to live action. Will McPartland still struggling. On the bottom of the pile, Harold Jackson. And you would have to think that this is probably 4-down territory here. The ball is inside the 20-yard line, making it officially the 19. You always go to the next yard marker up when you pass one.
Scranton Prep.
And they're going to take a look here, Neil, excuse me, and measure.
Scranton Prep has a field goal kicker, number 7, Justin Davis, 25 before the game. It's doubtful in the first game. In the first quarter they'd try that, but there is a man on the bench capable of putting them in from the 20, and you saw the distance there that they will have to go on 4th down, and
8
less
inches,
than
Neil.
a foot. Okay. New scoreboard here too, we just noticed. After many years.
This beautiful renovation job here at Wilkes-Barre Memorial Stadium really looks awesome. That's the scoreboard we're talking about, and we go back. The 4th down and inches, they give it to Colvin. Got it. Colvin goes straight ahead, gets about 3 yards, needed 8 inches, and it's another first down for the Cavaliers.
Give the Cavaliers left side a lot of credit. There's Charlie Fick, the head coach, because the left side of that offensive line for the Cavaliers moved Harold Jackson out of the way on that play to pick up the first down.
Charlie Fick working with a lot of new people up front. Pretty solid in the skill positions. He did mention that it may take a little while to get get things off and rolling. Here it's Colvin. Colvin cuts it up, and he's at the 14-yard line. Tony Falcone steps up to bring him down. And one of the things that right now the Cavaliers have done, Neil, they've run off 10 plays.
And they've done it rather well, too. There hasn't been a stop. There hasn't been a hold at the line of scrimmage. They're picking up yardage on every play, and that's a key to this ball game for them for the year. If they can keep running the ball as they are here, this is going to make their season. This is their game plan. This is their season plan. Move the ball on the ground.
McPartland, he's got a big hole, and McPartland rumbles to the 7. Joe Janik made the stop. That's close to a first down. We'll see exactly where they spot this. They're taking a look, and they're saying it's about a half a yard short. See if they bring it in. We do have a timeout on the field. They're going to make no mistake here. They're going to bring this in to double check it. Well, thanks for joining us here on Scholastic Sports Showcase. Our pleasure to kick off the football season with you, and thanks for being part of our television audience tonight. This is actually game 1 of 3 on the weekend here for us, and we will be back with you here tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock for Bishop Hoban and Bishop Hafey. The Vikings of Hafey traveling in here to take on the Argents, and then tomorrow night it will be Coughlin and East Stroudsburg, the Crusaders and the Cavaliers. Another group of Cavaliers in here, Neil.
Well, with East Stroudsburg, you also have a homecoming, as their head coach, Ed Christian, played here at Myers, and in fact became a baseball star just across the street where the elementary school is located now. So it'll be nice to see Ed back here. You see them short, so it's going to be 3rd down and less than a yard on the G.A.R. 8, and the first scoring threat of the season right here for the Cavaliers.
9 inches to go this time. And they give it to McPartland to about the 5-yard line. That should be good for a first down. We'll wait on the official spot.
First in on the play.
Stood up by 62, Jim Costello.
And they do move the chains.
It is first and goal, Scranton Prep.
That's Costello, 62. His dad, Owen Costello, is not only on the school board here, but he's also head of the Keystone State Games and had another successful season for the Games down in Harrisburg last month.
Colvin. Oh, and he stopped right at the line. Good penetration that time by a Theo DeGraffenried. He kind of set up the rest of the defense on that. Call that one no gain.
And that's about the first no gain the Cavaliers have had on this drive.
That is the first time that they have failed to gain plus yardage, but they didn't lose, so technically I guess they still haven't lost.
Well, they're going to want 6 at least out of this.
Brian Holmes. Will McPartland. McPartland up the middle. McPartland in for the touchdown. Will McPartland would not be denied. He gave it his second effort. He gave it his third effort and pushed it across the goal line for the first score of the 1995 season. As you get another look, watch the great effort right there.
Number 66, Matt.
Any portion of that football across the goal line, and there you see how he broke the plane of the goal line to pick up the 6 points. And now they're going for 7.
Justin Davis, I believe. That was not Justin Davis. I believe it was, we'll get the number for you of their kicker right after this. Matt Harris. Thank you, Neil.
There's always something to do in Columbia and Montour County. Entertaining events to lure travelers from far and wide. In fact, Columbia and Montour County serve up a 4-season schedule of events for all ages, from country fairs to wildlife preserves.
And this is Justin Davis.
Number 7, Justin Davis will kick off for the Cavaliers.
Gets an opportunity here to kick things off for the second time. Kick is away. This is a floater. And it's taken on the far sideline by Tony Falcone, and Tony Falcone gives the Grenadiers yet another great spot by way of that fine return. Mike Brazzetti, key man in on the tackle.
Number 66, Matt Harris. First and 10.
Very quickly, let's take you to the sideline for this report from Canio Costanzo. Canio?
Roger, if there's one thing Tony Cantafio wanted to do with the Cavaliers offensively, keep it simple. Lots of running plays. For every one pass, 8 runs, and that's basically what we saw in that first drive. A very impressive offensive drive for the Cavaliers. Roger?
And Janoski gets just a couple. Give him a gain of 2 on the play. It'll make it second down and 8.
Brought down by Brian James, just shy of the G.A.R. 40.
You got to look at the scoring drive here. 14 plays, 80 yards. And the big thing, if you are Tony Cantafio, your team just ate up 6 minutes and 45 seconds of the first quarter. 2 minutes, 50 seconds remain here in the first quarter of action. Janoski with room. Janoski crosses the 50-yard line and is run out of bounds in Cavalier territory, and that is good for the initial first down.
Chris Glenn with the high tackle of Janoski, taking him out of bounds. Glenn, a basketball player, didn't play last year for the Cavaliers in football, but he's out there this year giving it the try in his senior year.
The reason that he made the switch, he quit growing.
That happens. Everybody doesn't get it to 6'10", do they?
That's exactly right. Janoski from the 48 gives it Harold Jackson. Into the secondary, all the way to the 33-yard line. Tripped up there by Steven Recupero. Back-to-back first downs.
Give Glenn a good assist on that tackle also. He's the guy that hit Jackson one-on-one at about the 40 and slowed him down enough to make the final tackle possible. The Grenadiers come roaring right back now with the ball on the Cavaliers 34 with 2:25 to go in the first quarter.
Watch the hole. This is a great job of blocking up front. And look how quick Jackson goes north-south. Athea DeGraffenreid gets the nod on that one. He's got a couple. Give him a gain of 2, make it a second down and 8.
They're finding out they have 2 good running backs in the DeGraffenreid household, with Manuel out with a hamstring injury since the track season. His brother Athea, only a sophomore, steps up tonight.
Janoski that time, he pulled it back, and we had talked about this just a little bit earlier, that one of the things that Janoski has the opportunity to do, it's up to him as to how that play goes, and that time he tucked it in, pulled it back out, and Brian James was there to wrap him up. No gain on the play.
James kept that from getting off. You don't know what Janoski had up his sleeve on that one, because James had his arm up that sleeve. 1 minute left in the first quarter, 7-0 Scranton Prep.
Janoski with a third down and 8. DeGraffenreid, he pitches it back and hands off to Tony Falcone, and Falcone inside the 10. Falcone, touchdown! Charlie Fick told us, hey, we got all kinds of stuff. We can come at you with that option, and we can also come at you with the reverse off of it. You saw it right there. Tony Falcone.
34 yards on that reverse. He had one man downfield to give him a good block, and he was gone. Good daylight from Falcone. You're going to see it again. Now watch Janoski here. Flips right. DeGraffenreid reverses right there to Falcone, and Falcone right now has nobody in front of him except that official.
Jackson's kick is no good. Partially snuffed, and there were 4, count them, 4 Cavaliers right there on top of Jackson. But they've drawn to within 1. We got a good one, 7-6, Scranton Prep.
We could use another bathroom, but I really had my heart set on a new kitchen. Until the furnace went. But instead of putting everything on hold, I went to Mellon for a line of credit. We'll be okay. I got the money I needed, even a little extra, for other important things.
Life Improvement Loans. Call 1-800-MELON-2. 1-800-MELON-2.
Looking for excitement and adventure? Think Command Post Paintball. Looking for something unique for your next group outing? Think Command Post Paintball. Looking for an adventure everyone can enjoy? Think Command Post Paintball. Don't miss the adventure of a lifetime. Contact us today. The Command Post. It's the logical choice.
7-6, Scranton Prep. What a first quarter of action. 42 seconds remain here. Harold Jackson's going to kick this one away. And a great job of smothering that extra point on the part of the Cavalier defense. From the 7-yard line, Colvin back out to the 25.
Wayne Whitaker, 84, one of 3 Grenadiers in there at the stop at the 26-yard line. No return on that line drive kick by Harold Jackson.
First quarter winding down. Thanks for being part of our live telecast here tonight from Memorial Stadium in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. 7-6. Scranton Prep leading G.A.R. Scranton Prep with the football, probably the last play of the first quarter, and we have a flag on the play. And when it comes from the man in the back looking at his watch, that is the back judge, and when he comes looking at the watch, guess what? You're going to march it off against you 5 yards.
That's what happens.
First down will go on the snap.
What happens when the pizza man is late? 5 yards. First penalty of the season.
From the Cavalier 21.
8 seconds to go in the first quarter, and they'll switch sides, and I don't think it's going to matter because it doesn't look to be too much wind here.
McPartland basically got back the penalty. Time expires. First quarter is done. We've played through 12 minutes of action here from Wilkes-Barre Memorial Stadium. A little bit of a surprise, folks. Scranton Prep Cavaliers 7, G.A.R. 6.
The everything for
drive for the Grenadiers took 6 plays, 3 minutes and 18 seconds off the clock. They went 63 yards, and the 34-yard romp by Tony Falcone gave him the touchdown. First play of the second quarter, 2nd and 10. And Holmes is going to go down for, I believe, what will be the first loss of the ball game. Loses 1.
Janik and DeGraffenried in on the stop.
First stop on the play by Athea DeGraffenried.
So Athea's starting on offense and defense for his brother. And he's doing a good job on both sides for the Grenadiers.
26-yard line.
McPartland. A little bit of a delay. McPartland still on his feet, and McPartland should have the first down. That was 3rd down and 10. And McPartland, with a great piece of running, will produce the 5th first down of the game. Look at this, a little bit of a delay. McPartland out of the backfield. Look at the good blocking up front. Runs over top of a would-be tackler And then goes down, putting the final touches on him there was John Hooper.
Hooper 54, Falcone 10, also in on that hit.
That's Colvin, and Colvin to about the 41-yard line. That'll be good for a gain of about 4.
First hit on the play.
I give a lot of credit right now to the offensive line for Scranton Prep. They are dominating this ball game as far as the lines are concerned, and they're making it possible for the Colvins and the McPartlins to get loose to do their thing. I did not expect to see the G.A.R. line get handled this early, this well.
Brian Holmes has been calling the signals from play 1 on offense for the Cavaliers. 2nd down and 6 to give again to Colvin. This time not much doing. Maybe 2 yards, maybe 3.
Jackson, one of those in on defense. Also 85 for the Grenadiers coming up from the left side. Jason Sauerwein made the hit. That's his 3rd of the ball game.
It is 3rd and 5.
Well, you got to love football weather this time of the year. Absolutely superb night. And we're glad to have you part of our telecast here from Wilkes-Barre Memorial Stadium. 3rd down and 5, gain of 1 last time. And here's Colvin. And Colvin is upended. Sauerwein and DeGraffenry tripped him up. It's going to make it a 3rd down, and let's call it, well, let's wait. We have a flag on the play, so before we put this in the book, hold the phone.
That flew a little late, so we'll see what they come up with.
Yep. That's Colvin, 6 feet, 190 pounds. He is
illegal motion this way, declined, 4th down. The end.
So the play will stand. They'll make it a 4th down and about 2. Be interesting to see what Tony Cantafio does. Do you give it to big Will McPartland or do you punt it away?
Looks like they're going to go for it.
Does not surprise me a bit. Give it to McPartland. McPartland with a second for McPartland. Let me tell you, McPartland was stopped. They had him. The line did their job. McPartland was stopped, and that 1st down is a direct result of that great 2nd effort on the part of Will McPartland.
And you're going to see it again right now as McPartland, who's dropped about 20 pounds since the end of last season, may have dropped the weight but picked up some power as you see him go against the Grenadiers on that one and pick up a big 1st down. Remember, Tony Cantafio, you can't write a book on him on 4th down yardage. He can do anything at any time, and sometimes it's controversial and sometimes it works.
McPartland again. McPartland to the 41-yard line. About 9 on the carry for Will McPartland.
Janoski on the stop.
Janoski comes up to make the hit. Will McPartland last year considerably heavier, and this year down about 20 pounds, and I'll tell you what, it hasn't hurt a bit.
Now they've got him listed in the book at 210. Sometimes you wonder how these books are written and weighed, but looks legit for him this time. They're going to take a timeout to talk about things with a 2nd period situation of 2nd down and 1, Roger.
Timeout taken by Scranton Prep. An opportunity for me to remind you that the 2nd quarter of tonight's game also being brought to you by Dr. Pat Kerrigan. You're going to look into the huddle on the sideline. Hey, a reminder to you that this is only game 1 of 3 coming your way here this weekend on PCTN. Tomorrow at 1 o'clock, Bishop Hoban, Bishop Hafey right here. And then tomorrow night, it will be East Stroudsburg in here to take on Coughlin. Right now, let's take you down to the sideline where Canio Costanzo is standing by. Canio?
Roger, Neal, Tony Cantafio told us before the game a ground attack and 50 plays offensively will win the game. They haven't thrown the ball yet, and already there's 8:19 to go here in the 2nd quarter. It's all been on the ground. No surprises from Cantafio, and a great coaching job so far by Scranton Prep. It's been pretty simple, and that's one reason why they're up by a point.
Canio to follow that through 22 offensive plays for Scranton Prep, and we're at the 8-minute 19-second mark here in the second quarter, and Prep is showing no signs of wanting to give the football up. They'll have a second down and 1 when the clock begins to run here again.
We're getting ready to go. One of the Grenadiers missing his mouthpiece. That's the hold up right now for the defense.
You better keep that thing in, or you're going to find yourself with penalty yards being chalked up against your team. The official says, hey, ball's ready for play. Let's go. Second down and 1. Cavaliers with the football. 8:19 to go, second quarter of action. Straight ahead they go to Colvin, and Colvin is going to pick up the first down as he literally dives through the middle. Spot the football at the 37-yard line, and it is another Prep first down, their third of the drive. They started this drive with a 5-yard penalty, which moved them back actually to the 20-yard line. They've run off 9 plays since that time and have a first down here. Spot the football for you right at the Grenadier 37-yard line. Ryan Holmes. This time it's Mark McDade. And McDade basically back to the line of scrimmage, maybe. A gain of a half a yard or a loss of a half a yard. Let's just call that no gain. We have a flag on the field. So hold everything.
10 from there.
I heard 10 from here, probably holding. We'll get the official call for you in just a minute. This is going to move the Cavaliers back to the 48-yard line. And that is the call. So the second penalty of the drive for Prep. Can't quite tell from that angle exactly where the violation occurred. Holmes to throw, puts it up, screen. And while it was complete to Jim Nasser, it's going to
Jason Sauerwein
be a little bit of a loss.
Got a hold of him before he could get loose. Now this is one of the fast guys, Nasser, in the backfield for Prep. They look to go to him, and he's got the speed to break loose. Sauerwein with an ankle stop for his 5th solo tackle for the Grenadiers. That's great for him, but the problem is he's a defensive back, and that means that they're getting the ball down into his area, either on the ground or in this case on a pass.
This time they show power eye right. And they come back. Colvin right at the 50-yard line. He's going to get only about 3 yards, but they needed more than that from that one.
We have a flag on the play also.
Vini on the last stop. And another holding penalty, and Charlie Fick says, hey, move them back.
We'll take it.
There's another flag on the play.
And so we started out on the first 3 series of downs with no penalties, and a lot of times, Neil, when you start a new season and you got new players and a little bit of first game jitters and mix all that in, lots of times you have a lot of penalties. Right now, though, on this drive alone, as we go to play number 11 of the drive, there's been 3 penalties for the Cavaliers.
Well, what part of that might be the inexperienced G.A.R. defense to start the game. The offensive line was being able to do their job without too many problems. Now, if G.A.R. is putting pressure on, they're making that little extra grab, and that might be where the holding's coming up as the defense is pressuring.
Holmes over the middle. This is Nasser, and he's down to the 41-yard line, and that is close to the first down.
Falcone and Janoski makes the stop for the G.A.R. Grenadiers, but Nasser, as we said, once he gets his hand on the ball, he can rip. And here you'll see Holmes with his first completion right here. Good time, good hold. And there is the catch. Nasser heads right south.
Nasser, wide open as he found a seam and knew exactly what to do with it when he caught it. Third down. Let's call it 13. It's come again to McPartland. Look at McPartland. He refuses to go down. McPartland took what should have been a nothing and turned it into a 5-yard play.
Hooper holding on for dear life to keep McPartland from getting loose until some help got up there. Holmes deserves some credit on this one as he got that pass off under pressure of 2 Grenadiers. Here you're going to get another look at it. There you see 4 arms wrapped around the waist of Holmes, but he gets the ball off to his man.
No, in the grass here. Look at McPartland. We talked about his desire to just continue to get more and more and more out of every play. Well, this has been an unusual series of downs for the Cavaliers. They started this one at their own 25-yard line, and then a 5-yard penalty moved them back. They managed to come up with a first down. They produced 3 first downs on the drive thus far, but they've also had 25 yards in penalties. And they have gone back-to-back-to-back passes here also, which is not exactly what the Cantafio game plan would have been. However, it has worked at least to this point. It's going to be 4th down and 7 when play resumes, and you can count on the fact that Tony Cantafio on the far sideline is trying to figure out exactly what play they've got in the book to get them to 7 yards, and Charlie Fick is trying to make sure that he's got all bases covered with his defensive team to make sure that they don't get caught short and maybe not being prepared for something. We've seen screen pass, we've seen throw up the middle, and we've seen a little dump off, so it could be anything.
Well, we've seen a lot so far, but you know, in the first half of the first game, you haven't even touched the main chapters of that book that both coaches carry with them, both offensively and defensively. But I'll say one thing, the coaches who came down from the Big 11 to get a look at Scranton Prep may be rewriting their books when you see McPartland of this year and the improvement over what he did last year as a junior.
He is the lone remaining running back. They give it to him on a draw, and let me tell you right now, the thing that stopped that play dead cold right there was Charlie Fick in the huddle prior to that play being run.
Number 85,
Charlie had that one smelled out as Jackson comes up to make the stop, along with number 80, Kevin Doherty, in there for the Grenadiers. You could hear everybody yelling on that play, draw. 4:55 to go in the half. The Grenadiers take over at their own 35, trailing 7-6.
Thanks for joining us here tonight on Scholastic Sports Showcase. Good to be back in the football season. Janoski on the option. Couldn't find anywhere to go.
By McDade.
Mark McDade, 6 feet tall, 200 pounds, just a junior, number 32, plugged that hole.
Second and 9. G.A.R. from the Grenadier, 36.
Janoski walked over to the sidelines to take a look at Coach Charlie Fick and Dino Galella, one of the assistant coaches, to see what they had in mind. They give him the basic play, and then he adds the finish to it, whatever he wants to.
He can go belly, he can go veer, he can pitch it outside, he can take it himself. Under 4 minutes to play here in the first half. Janoski to throw. That's a lateral to Jackson. It was behind the line. No forward pass on that.
Pass complete to Jackson.
And the spot will be the 39-yard line. That was a lateral that was behind the line of scrimmage.
Recupero putting Jackson out of bounds on that. Now, we've seen that play last year exactly the same way, where they lateraled back to Jackson and Jackson passed downfield. So you may see that again. Don't expect it to be a power run for Jackson. He may be looking for a receiver. He can throw that ball upwards of 50 yards in the air without a problem.
And Janoski slips. I think he got his feet tangled up with one of his blockers.
Ball carried by Jeanette.
On the play, call it no gain to the line of scrimmage.
Nice play by John Davies, 51 for Scranton Prep. It won't show up in the scorebook, but the ball had rolled across the 40. He handed it back to the official, but he made sure he tossed it to the 38. Tried to pick up that extra yard.
Janoski, low snap, fielded nicely, gets it away. It's in the direction of Colvin. They're going to let it bounce. It gets a Cavalier roll, and it is going to go all the way down to the 9-yard line before it is downed by Brock Vini.
It's like 52 yards, 53 yards from the line of scrimmage on that punt. So the Cavs have it back with 3 minutes to go in the half, leading 7-6. And that time we saw a nice roll on this new turf.
In 10, Scranton Prep.
3 minutes to go.
From the Cavalier.
Here in the second quarter, brought to you by the Hart Medical Center. And it'll be first down at the 10. The gift still on his feet. Will McPartland. Loose football. Who's got it? It looked for a moment like it belonged to G.A.R. and then somehow or another, Doherty comes up with it. Big Charlie Doherty, 6'1", 210 pounds. Gets the Cavaliers a first down, but not the way that it was drawn up.
No, you won't draw this one up. Bob Wickheiser for G.A.R. looked as if he was going to recover it as McPartland loses the handle on this one. But they can't hold on to it, and the Cavs have it right back.
That was Janoski, I believe, who came in to knock that one loose.
There you see the pileup looking for the ball.
And McPartland gets the nod once again, and he is out near the 40-yard line. Very close to a first down. 2 minutes, 13 seconds remain here. They're going to bring out the chains, I believe, and measure this one again.
See more close measurements in the first half of this ball game than you'll see on any weekend usually.
Second down and 11. Be interesting to see here if Tony Cantafio would be content to see Charlie Fick down 7-6 as they head into the locker room. Clock runs under a minute 30. Looking to throw. Holmes puts it up. Penalty flag is thrown, so hold everything. It was intended for Nasser. And a flag was thrown in the direction of the play. Let's see what we've got. Keep in mind, if it is pass interference, we're talking 15 yards from the line of scrimmage.
Where's the previous
pass interference?
That's what it was. And that's the first time we've seen Holmes go long for the Cavaliers. He's a 5'10", 150 quarterback, and he got that one off very nicely. Good for about 40 yards in the air to Nasser. So they'll have it at the G.A.R. 45, just a little bit short of the 45. Clock stopped with 1:22 to go in the half, 7-6. The Cavaliers definitely within throwing territory to put another 6 or 7 on the board before the gun.
This time, they elect not to go in the air. They give it to Brian Curtis. Then he gets back to the line of scrimmage, and that's it.
Prep with 4 subs for the offensive play. 2 backs and 2 linemen came in. 1 end and 1 split end now on this play.
Holmes to throw again. Puts it up. Got a man over the middle. It is complete. And that is Chris Glenn showing some good hands on that.
First down, Prep. Inside the 30-yard line.
Bob Wickheiser made the tackle. There's the first time we've seen that new rule where the quarterback is allowed to kill the ball similar to the NFL style, as Holmes came back off the snap and fired the ball directly into the turf behind the center. That's a new rule for high school this year, and that's the first time we've seen it at all.
Doesn't look any different to most of the football fans.
Here it is. You'll see it. Holmes drops back.
He has nobody?
Oh, that's the play before.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Chris Glenn cut it up, and boom. Good catch and run. On the draw, it's McPartland. And McPartland down at the line of scrimmage.
Costello got the big arms around him and ended that play. 28 seconds to go. Prep takes timeout.
They would like nothing better than to be able to get another score here. And that will give us an opportunity to invite you to be part of our next telecast. And that's coming up tomorrow afternoon right here at 1 o'clock as the Bishop Hayfie Vikings will be hosted right here at Memorial Stadium by the Argents of Bishop Hogan. Then, tomorrow night, 7:30, Coughlin will host East Stroudsburg. You'll see all of that action live right here on the place where you get the event, not just the highlights. PCTN, Scholastic Sports Showcase, kicking off things in fine fashion with a 3-game weekend. Thanks for being part of our television audience.
Hayfie Hoban game last year we did up in Hazleton at the Vikings home field, and that was a 14-6 win for the Vikes, if I remember correctly.
Tony Cantafio has to be pleased with what he's seen. His team has controlled the football. It's tough to have the other team score against you if you don't give it up. 28 seconds left, 3rd down and 10. Holmes to throw, complete. Colvin does a nice job, sidesteps a man. He's going to have a 1st down at the 17-yard line.
First down, Prep.
Beanie made the final stop. 18 seconds.
Clock stops momentarily, Neil, while they advance the chains. And let's see if we see the spike to football again. Yes. Now, let's give you a look at how they ended up with the 1st down. Watch the nice job here by Holmes, first of all. And then, after the catch, watch the move by Colvin.
Here's the ball coming right to him. He goes with the flow of the body contact, eludes one man, then completes his reverse. Wickheiser, 45, hits him hard. And down he goes with a lot of help from some Grenadier friends. Man split way out on the right side.
16 seconds left. He puts it up. He's left it there for Glenn. Touchdown. What a catch. Over the shoulder, Chris Glenn. Let me tell you how easy it is as a receiver to let up on that. To back off just a step when you really need to put it out. And that's exactly what Chris Glenn did. And it goes for a touchdown with 11 seconds left on the clock here in the 1st half of action. Superb catch. Great hands. Chris Glenn, 6'4", 200 pounds. And that was one of those where you throw to the spot. Point after is bobbled. They toss it up. It's complete, but a big thing here is the fact that with 11 seconds remaining, the Cavaliers get their 2nd touchdown of the game. Watch this. Now watch the great job of concentration. Watch it fall into the hands of Chris Glenn.
Glenn ran like a center fielder with his back to the batter on that one, headed to the left corner of the end zone, 18 yards for the touchdown, and he made it with about 4 yards to spare. As Holmes, who does not have the reputation of being a passer, has belied that on this drive, including that 18-yard touchdown pass. 13-6 now the score, and that brings up an opportunity to allude to another new rule change for this year, that of overtime. There will be no ties in regulation football this year. Under the new PIAA setup that they continued on in the postseason for the last few years, it will be a 10-yard play for the teams following a timeout, following a coin toss, and we'll tell you all of that if it comes up. But now with a 7-point lead rather than a 1-point lead, it is possible.
So G.A.R. is going to get the football back. The thing that you tell your team on this one is make sure you get no long run backs. It wouldn't surprise me to see a squib kick here, Neil. And that's exactly what they do. Little bouncer on the ground. It's fallen on and taken by Joe Janik. 1 second comes off the clock.
It'll be 1st and 10 for the Grenadiers.
Ball will be at the 26-yard line of the Grenadiers. They'll have 74 yards to go and 10 seconds to do it in. And that's not impossible for Janoski, who threw for over 1,000 yards last year.
They start the clock, and now, Neil, they're going to stop the clock with a timeout with 3 seconds left. And this is where you try to pull the rabbit out of the hat, maybe. But then again, maybe you're just going to be content to go ahead and see the 3 seconds go off the clock. It'll be interesting to see exactly what happens here. A bit of a surprise here tonight on opening night of Scholastic Sports Showcase and the high school football season for 1995, 13-6. The Cavaliers of Scranton Prep in the lead. You know, it's interesting. I was talking with Mike Namey, the head coach of Myers High School, prior to the game. And he said, in his opinion, he thought that a lot of the Scranton schools this year had some really fine football teams. And he said in the Wyoming Valley Conference, flip a coin, it could be any one of a number of schools. And maybe if this is any indication so far, that could be absolutely true. Charlie Fick, though, let me tell you, he's got an offense that can come back and put points on the board in a hurry. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens here. 13-6. The Cavaliers of Scranton Prep leading this one, 3 seconds left. And Alex Janoski will probably put this one in the air. Drops straight back. He's looking on a fly to the man who scored their only touchdown, Tony Falcone, broken up superbly by Steven Recupero. First half all done, 13-6. Cavaliers over the Grenadiers.
It's the Spa Factory Outlet.
Coach Cantafio, it's been your running game that's controlled the ball, and that's the one reason why you've got the lead today.
Well, that's what we said we had to do coming in, and I'm real happy the way the game is going so far. But, you know, 48 minutes, you have to keep playing, Conio.
Was that a perfect first half offensively?
Pretty close. Pretty close.
Good luck in the second half.
Thank you.
Okay, Tony Cantafio, Scranton Prep head coach. He's a very happy man going into the locker room. Roger Snyder, Neil Bennett, let's send it back to you.
24 minutes remain. Tony Cantafio always cautious, but let me tell you right now, Scranton Prep has run off 38 plays. G.A.R. has run off 12. 6 of the 12 plays that G.A.R. has run came on their scoring drive, which occurred on their second possession when they went 6 plays, with the final 34 yards coming on that reverse to Tony Falcone.
Roger, I was looking at my defensive statistics that I'm trying to keep here, and when I looked at them, I thought Scranton Prep, I must have missed half a dozen plays or more. But by golly, the count comes out to what you have as we look at the G.A.R. band on the field, and the Scranton Prep Cavaliers enjoying a 13-6 lead, dominating G.A.R. so far here tonight, and that may be a good thing, because a lot of people said last year after G.A.R. lost to Dallas in the playoff game in the districts, next year was their year. Maybe some people were starting to believe it a little bit early.
Let's take you down to the field now for the halftime show. This is the Grenadier Marching Band. Enjoy the halftime show. We'll be back in just a little bit with halftime stats and some thoughts on the first half. at the half here at Memorial Stadium in Wilkes-Barre, and you are being entertained here during the half by the Grenadier Marching Band with their theme, Phantom of the Opera. And the fans here are thoroughly enjoying the performance. Let's go back down once again for more of the halftime show and the Grenadier Marching Band. Nice round of applause here for the G.A.R. marching band. Boy, it's nice when you can come out on these fall nights. I guess still technically summer, right? You get a look at just a portion of the fine crowd here tonight. The Grenadier Marching Band here during the halftime. In the event you've tuned us in late, it is 13-6. The Cavaliers of Scranton Prep with a 7-point lead. And you know, when you talk about interesting things and looking ahead, Neil Bennett, I mean, that's the touchdown, and then you're faced with the decision. Do you go for the tie and have to go with the new tiebreaker rule, or do you go for two if you happen to catch up? That's a possibility and something that we may have to deal with down the road here.
Just gives the coaches something else to think about, some other problem that the fans in the stands can second guess them on. But
I was going to say, fooey on the coaches. That gives the newspaper people, that gives us in media, and that gives the fans something to talk about.
Well,
did they make the right choice? Did they not?
Exactly right, but they have to get the 7 points or the 6 points to be in a position to go for the 7th and the 8th point. And these youngsters aren't worried about that. They're worrying about not hitting a sour note.
Let's take you back down to the field. Enjoy the Grenadier Marching Band. At the half here from Memorial Stadium in Wilkes-Barre, Scranton Prep leading G.A.R. 13-6. Don't go away. We'll be back with more.
On PCTN is being brought to you by Penn State Hazleton Campus, by Mellon Bank, with 35 locations to serve you. You're why we do our very best. By Pocono Spa Factory Outlet, a real factory outlet. Call 1-800-HOT-SPAS. And by Command Post, your quartermaster to adventure.
You're watching PCTN, the new home of the WB Network.
And welcome back to Wilkes-Barre Memorial Stadium. Halftime finds the Cavaliers of Scranton Prep leading this one by a score of 13-6 over the Grenadiers of G.A.R. And here's Neil Bennett with a look at those first half stats. Neil?
Well, when you take a look at the scoreboard first, it shows 13-6, the Scranton Prep Cavaliers on top. And for the teams, look at the first downs. Prep dominating 12-4. Rushing yards, a big surprise there. 148-73. They doubled that category. Passing 66-0. Total yards, you see the dominance there. Penalties 3 for 25 against the Cavaliers, 1 for 15 against the Grenadiers. Time of possession shows Prep dominating. Also, your defensive tackles being done here by G.A.R. Jason Sauerwein leads with 6 individual. Tony Falcone 4 individual and 2 assists. Harold Jackson has 4 and an assist. For Scranton Prep, where are the tackles? Well, they don't really have to make them. They've had the ball for 17:41 of that first half, but leading it, Mike Rossetti, number 51, the fine linebacker, has 3, and then it's a deuce for James, Glenn, Alcoa, McDade, and Recupero. As you see, Scranton Prep a 13-7 or 13-6 lead, but a big domination of the rest of the stats on the board. 66-0 in passing. Almost unbelievable when you realize they're going against Janoski. Let's go quickly down to Chris Conn down on the field.
Coach, first half, now we're at halftime. What did you tell the players in the locker room?
Well, we had to give ourselves a gut check right there, so what kind of guts we have, because a lot of kids that aren't playing a lot of hard yet, like I know they can. We're hoping to improve the second half, get a little more leadership out there, and I think we'll be okay.
I know the running game is something you want to stop defensively.
Oh, they're just knocking the heck out of us right now. They really are. They're doing a great job just blowing us off the ball.
Okay, best of luck, Coach.
Thank you.
Roger Snyder, Neil, back to you.
Conio, thank you. Let's take a look at the individual leaders in the first half here for G.A.R. The Graffenried carried the ball 2 times and basically no gain. Jackson carried the ball only 3 times, a little bit of a surprise. He's got 18 yards. That's an average of 6 yards per carry. Janoski carried it 5 times for 21 yards, and Falcone, the 32-yard touchdown run on the reverse. Boy, take that out of the scheme of things, and it really gets lopsided. Then if you take a look at passing, Janoski 0 for 2. On the Prep side, check this. Will McPartland has carried the ball 14 times, 83 yards. He's got himself that 5-yard touchdown run. Colvin has carried it 12 times for 55 yards. In the passing department, Holmes, 6 for 6, 66 yards and 1 touchdown. That, of course, coming to Chris Glenn, who made 2 catches for 32 yards and the 17-yard touchdown pass with 10 seconds left on the clock. That really, really put a hurt on the Grenadiers, because now you go into the locker room with no momentum. Now you go in on a down, and if you're Prep, you go in on the high.
Well, what you have, if you take that 39-yard total, or rather take away that reverse, you have 39 yards totally for G.A.R. in 2 quarters of football, and nobody would believe that. Plus the fact for the Cavaliers, now with the 13-6 lead to start the second half, they get the football first. So things going the way of the Cavaliers at this point. 13-6 on the scoreboard, and they're going to get the ball back. Harold Jackson's teeing it up, and Harold did not have a first half that he would like to remember.
3 carries, 18 yards. He had a couple of good tackles.
He can turn that around in a hurry, though.
When you've got the amount of firepower that the G.A.R. has here, it might not take long. The key in the second half for is, again, ball control. We'll see how they do it as they will get the ball here on this their first possession. This is Pat Leonard, and wake-up call. He's back out to the 25-yard line, where Scranton Prep will take charge for the 4th time in the ball game.
An 11-yard return. Sauerwein starts off the second half with the tackle, his 7th, way and above everyone else on the field. You know, this is not a league game, and that Scranton is in the Big 11, G.A.R. in the Wyoming Valley Conference, but the points do count in the state race, and this is a big game for both clubs as far as the points are concerned. Better you get them in September than need them in November.
Some of the best AA teams, perhaps, anywhere in the region located in the Wyoming Valley Conference. McPartland here opens the second half of action here with a 6-yard run, bringing up a 2nd down and 4. Joe Janoski making the stop.
2nd and 4.
G.A.R. is going to have to start doing some things on defense. They're going to have to try to get in there and break up these handoffs to McPartland, force a turnover. They have to pick up the momentum on their side of the ball because Prep has shown the ability to run the ball at will, and that's no pun on Mr. McPartland.
That was Brian Curtis, and that is very close to the first down. They say just a little bit short. So this will be 3rd down and 1, and any bets on who's going to get the football? What do? You give it to Mr. Second Effort, Will McPartland.
At the 35-yard line.
Boy, is that an unusual set. How about the old full house backfield? Oh, a nice move on the part of Curtis, who sidestepped the tackler at the line of scrimmage. Excuse me, that's McPartland. And McPartland will have the first down.
Costello and Falcone.
As Falcone makes the stop, the ball is out to the 40-yard line. Watch McPartland. Now watch this nice move, the sidestep, the lateral move, and then he cuts it up, and it was that move that got him to go north-south and picked up the first down. 13th of the ball game for the Cavaliers. Keep in mind, ball control, the name of the game. McPartland will go in motion this time, leaving the back split. They toss it back to Brian Curtis, and Brian Curtis is wrapped up right at the line of scrimmage, coming up very quickly to make the hit out. Athea DeGraffenreid.
DeGraffenreid, Sauerwein.
Sophomore showing very well here today. Helped out on that stop by Sauerwein.
Gain of 1 on the play. It is 2nd and 9 for the Cavaliers.
Thanks for joining us here on PCTN.
41.
Opening night of Scholastic Sports Showcase. Kicking it off tonight, Scranton Prep and G.A.R. And McPartland barrels ahead to the 45-yard line. Kevin Doherty
on the play by Costello, also
along with Costello.
Run a couple of names past you. You haven't heard them tonight. Bill Salva, Matt Paris, fine linemen offensively for Scranton Prep, along with Chris Farrell and Charlie Doherty. They're doing a great job in the trenches, and they're doing it to the Grenadiers, who last year lost only 2 games, and those were to district champion Dallas.
Flag's going to throw on this one. 2 people in motion. And Colvin is going to go down for little or no gain. And again, it's a nice job to protect that corner on the part of Athea DeGraffenreid.
And there's a flag on the play.
Well, if they design that to work on the sophomore over on the far side, he's showing he's equal to the task, but the penalty is going to come up against the Scranton Prep Ball Club.
They're going to march this one off. That'll move the ball back to the 40-yard line.
Illegal motion against the Cavaliers.
And that'll make it a 3rd down and 10 by virtue of the motion penalty. That's time in the 3rd quarter. Here's Holmes to throw. Sidesteps a man, puts it up. It was intended out in the flat for Tim Knable. And he wasn't able to get to that one.
Kevin Doherty, though, was able to get to that thrower, quarterback Holmes, and Doherty did a nice job of getting Holmes in his grasp, and that's going to force a punt on the part of number 7, Justin Davis, who's back to about the 27-yard line of the Cavaliers to get this one off.
This the 4th drive of the game for the Cavaliers, and it ends with a punt, and not a very good one, as this is going to sail out of bounds at the 47-yard line. Good field position for the Grenadiers.
Only 13 yards from the line of scrimmage on that punt by Davis. So the Grenadiers get it back in excellent field position, almost at their 48-yard line for the first time in the second half. 8:43 to go in the 3rd quarter. There you see it.
And Neil, on that series of downs, The Cavaliers had to do something that they have not done to this point in the evening, and that is punt. They scored the first time they had the football. The second time, after a 13-play drive, they turned the ball over on downs, and then touchdown. Look at Harold Jackson. Whoa! Jackson says, climb on board this train, folks. We're going down the tracks.
And that track led right down the field. Harold Jackson dragging along some preps with him. And you can see how quickly he can get his team back into the situation. Harold Jackson with his first real good burst there.
The third quarter of tonight's game is being brought to you by the Hart Medical Center. The Hart Medical Center is a family practice under the direction of Dr. Patrick Kerrigan. Dr. Kerrigan is pleased to sponsor the third quarter of tonight's game as a tribute to the fans. We'll get it in here. Also wants to send along good luck wishes to all the teams in the region during the 1995 season. Listen, we hope that you have good luck. This is what Dr. Kerrigan says, but when you or your family requires medical attention, call the Hart Medical Center, 476 Hazel Street in Wilkes-Barre. Third quarter brought to you by the Hart Medical Center.
7 for the Grenadiers from the Prep 33.
Call it second down and 8. The fake to Jackson. Janoski cuts it up. Tackled by a host of white-shirted players right there in the middle. Leading the play was Brian James. Janoski advances the football to the 29-yard line.
Looked as if Janoski wanted to come around the right side, but Chris Glenn, number 86, standing there on defense, who plays defense as tough as he does offense, so Janoski turned it inside.
Jackson. And Jackson taking a page out of the McPartland playbook. Refuses to go down until he gets the first down.
Again, a 5 on the play and a Grenadier first down.
McPartland in on the stop. There is a flag on the play.
At the Cavalier 24-yard line.
But apparently it's been waved off.
It's going to be a first down for the Grenadiers at the 25-yard line. Thanks for joining us. Scholastic Sports Showcase here on PCTN tonight. Scranton Prep and G.A.R. G.A.R. looking to draw closer here. What a good stop on the play by Brian James, number 50. The 5'11", 175-pound junior just wrapped his arms around Alex Janoski, the 5'11", 185-pound senior.
His
and
second
that one
stop
went nowhere. Neil?
Second stop on this series, fourth of the ball game.
It is second and 10 for G.A.R. from the Cavalier 24.
Keep your eye right there, number 50. Brian James does the job. We go back to live action. Janoski to throw. He can do this. Puts it up. It is complete to Joe Janik, and Janik all the way down to the 4-yard line.
Recupero brings him down just shy of the goal line. Janoski with his first pass completion of the night. And very quickly he gets the Grenadiers into red territory.
Look at the nice tight spiral on the dead run. It's hauled in by Joe Janik.
Here's Recupero.
And Recupero saves the touchdown.
Gets him from the waist down. Glenn in there to help finish him off. Grenadiers looking for 6, maybe 7 to tie, or 8 to go ahead here with 5.5 to go in the third quarter, trailing 13-6.
Janoski to Jackson. Jackson, touchdown. Makes you want to say, big Harold Jackson.
Big Sherman tank. Woo. Jackson gets 6. 13-12 now. The Cavaliers still lead with 5:13 to go in the half, and we'll see which way Charlie Fick decides to go for it. 1 PAT or 2 running. It looks like they're going to go for the 2, Roger.
This is what we talked about. It gets really interesting. These are the types of plays that figure big into the scheme of things. And what happened was the Grenadiers went up. They showed going for 2. Perhaps they wanted to see how the Cavalier defense would set up, and then they asked for time.
What happened, Roger, I believe they were short on the field. One player coming in very late off the sidelines, and I think that was the problem. Is you're going to get another look here at Harold Jackson on this handoff. It's just a power plunge for Jackson from Janoski over the left side, running low, has 3 men there holding on to him, but they can't hold him when he's got that drive going with the legs. Harold Jackson with his touchdown, 13-12.
So the difference in this one, right now, an extra point by Matt Paris on the first touchdown of the game, which was scored by Scranton Prep. And now it's moment of truth time. Look at the build on number 33, Jackson. I think you're right, Neil. I should have said big Sherman tank.
And he's only a junior, folks. He's got a year to grow.
Charlie Fick says this is a great kid. He works hard. He gives you everything that he's got. They're going for 2. Janoski rolls. He's going to put it in the air. And it is incomplete. Intended for DeGraffenried. And the score remains 1-0 Prep. 13-12.
Same difference, but it's a 1-point ball game. The Grenadiers took over at their 47-yard line and marched it in.
We could use another bathroom, but I really had my heart set on a new kitchen. Until the furnace went. But instead of putting everything on hold, I went to Mellon for a line of credit. We'll be okay. I got the money I needed, even a little extra, for other important things.
Life Improvement Loans. Call 1-800-MELON-2. 1-800-MELON-2.
Coming up after this rebroadcast of Scholastic Sports Showcase, catch Bucknell Football in 95. Join host Bob Beeler as he takes a weekly in-depth look at the Bison football program.
You just can't stop the tide. Rick Springfield and Yannick Bassan in the all-new High Tide.
Catch High Tide Mondays at 10 on PCTN.
Harold Jackson set to kick this away for the Grenadiers. He does. It's in the direction of and taken by Patrick Leonard. And he is out of bounds at the 29-yard line, where it'll be 1st and 10 for Scranton Prep.
7-yard return on that one by Leonard.
Let's go down to the field now and Canio Costanzo. Canio.
Roger and Neil, we heard G.A.R. coach Charlie Fick say it was gut check time. And offensively, that's exactly what they needed. They needed to go downfield on their first possession and score. Mentally, G.A.R. is back in this game. Defensively now, they need another stop.
And you know, 1 point, Neil, is as good as 3 or perhaps 6. Because what it means is that G.A.R. will still need another score of some type in order to take the lead here. So that was a big play on the extra point. Charlie Fick making no bones about it. He says, we're going for the win right here, right now, and going up on top, and 2-point try failed. The last drive taking 7 plays, 52 yards, the total distance, and taking 3 minutes and 35 seconds off the clock.
Portland picked up 3 on that carry. The ball is on the 33-yard line of Scranton Prep.
And Neil, with that carry, Will McPartland now has 18 carries on the night, 102 yards. So McPartland, a 100-yard night. Whoa, nearly picked picked off on the pitch back, and Colvin somehow or another turns that up and gets about a 5 or 6 yard gain out of it. But could you see that one being picked off and the highlight films and part of the opens for the next 2 years? That was close to being intercepted.
That was like watching an accident. You're absolutely helpless. You can't do anything. You can see it happening. As Holmes was getting ready to pitch, the Graffenried, I believe it was, number 8, came in on defense, and he was right there while that ball was in the air, and he had about 30 yards to go for 6 points. It must have had everybody on the coaching staff for Scranton Prep yelling, drop.
Yeah. Back to live action. And I'm not sure, like Colvin says, hey, what was that? I'm wondering the same thing.
I think Holmes is too, as he turned as if he was going to hand off to a back coming by him, and all he saw was turf. Now watch, he'll get hung up here for a second looking for somebody. Oh, it's you.
Yeah.
Okay, here.
Busted play. Thank you, Neil. That's exactly what that was. That was a miscommunication somewhere along the line. That's going to bring out Justin Davis. We'll correct that. Chris Glenn in punt formation. And Glenn gets the kick away, and it is going to go out of bounds at the 46-yard line of the Grenadiers. So they will have the football in excellent field position with 2 minutes and 56 seconds remaining here in quarter number 3. They trail by 1, 13-12.
Had the ball on the 47 the last time when they punted. So this one went 15, about 19 yards from the line of scrimmage. As you see the closeness of this ball game on the scoreboard. G.A.R. getting ready for their second possession of the second half. 2:56 to go in the third quarter.
And Neil, for the first time tonight, Prep was 3 and out. That's the first time, the first possession of their 5 possessions that they went 3 and out, and it is now back-to-back punts. They did not punt in the first half. Harold Jackson.
Ball carried by
Jackson had lots of friends that time. Mike Brzetti.
The first hit on the play.
Makes the first hit. He's 5'8", 165 pounds. Not very big. When you take 165 pounds and throw him in the chest of somebody like Harold Jackson at 225, let me tell you, that's a mismatch. But that one won by Brzetti.
He had some help from Fred Alcaro, who's 6'4", 260. So that didn't hurt either.
No gain on the play. Second down and 10. Clock continues to move here. Third quarter of action. Janoski, he's going to look. Oh, he's got a man, and he's wide open, and that's Tony Falcone. Makes the move. Falcone! Touchdown!
54 yards on that one, and it was a beautiful play. He held up at the line of scrimmage until the defense committed, and then he broke. Janoski had the time to get it away. And a great play by that young man, number 10 for G.A.R., Tony Falcone, 5'10", 165 senior. Didn't play football last year. There you see the ball in the air. Here he is, sizes it up right down the sideline. Whoop, let's go around him to the left. Okay, now let's run by these two guys. You don't have me, you don't have me. Woo, end zone. 18-13, G.A.R. right now, as they have rallied for 2 quick scores here in the third quarter, and Janoski again looks for 2.
He rolls out. He's got a man. DeGraffenried was open, but he throws it back into the middle of the field, and Mark McDade picks it off. He had DeGraffenried open. I don't think he saw him. We'll be right back, but it's the Grenadiers on top when we return. They lead by 5, 18-13.
Cook's Fitness Store, your home for top quality exercise equipment. Cook's Fitness Store, your home for knowledgeable fitness advisors. When you buy at Cook's, you're getting more than quality equipment, delivery, assembly, and reliable follow-up. 15% off all performance supplements and vitamins always. A wide selection of athletic clothing and accessories. Come in to see our selection of aerobic and home fitness equipment. For friendly service before and after the sale, Cook's Fitness Store, Wilkes-Barre and Dixon City, home of Pennsylvania's full-service fitness dealer.
want you to meet my brother, Simon.
Hi, Simon Hempel. I'm here for a job. I can pretty much start right away, except later on I was going to go buy myself a parakeet.
Do you have an appointment?
No, you just go right in and pick one out.
Here's how it works. You start at the bottom, you work your butt off, and you hope that maybe someday the right door will open up.
Next. Wow, did you call that one?
Simon, premiering September 10th on...
This is a big series of downs right here for the Cavaliers. If they could put together another sustained drive, take some time off of the clock, they would not only gain an advantage, they would also gain back the momentum.
Well, it's a tremendous turnaround in these two teams in a year. When you recall the score of last year's game, 33-0 G.A.R. It's a tremendous difference, an 18-13 game, the Grenadiers leading. The test now will be for these young Cavaliers when things start to go a little bit adverse to their game plan. How do they adjust? How do they come back? And it puts pressure on the quarterback, Holmes, who is not known as a thrower, but was 6 for 6 in the first half.
Colvin. And Colvin gets about 3.
Now, last year's attack, Colvin was their best pass catcher. Caught 6 for 120 yards, but he never took the ball into the end zone as a pass receiver.
And Neil, I'm going to make an observation here just based on that last play that Colvin, perhaps his legs just a little bit tired right now. I'm sure he'll be looking forward to the break at the quarter, which is coming up here in another 24 seconds. Third down, let's call it 4. And McPartland is going to come up about a half yard short, maybe even more than that, maybe a yard short. And that ends the quarter. 3/4 of the way done. Thanks for being with us. Stay with us for the final 12 minutes. It's 18-13 G.A.R.
My dad was always there for me. This was my chance to be there for him. I knew we needed an extra room, but the money was tight. I couldn't have done it without a loan. And Mellon came through for me. That's what family is all about.
Life Improvement Loans. Call 1-800-MELON-2. 1-800-MELON-2.
Coming up after this rebroadcast of Scholastic Sports Showcase, catch Bucknell Football in 95. Join host Bob Mueller as he takes a weekly in-depth look at the Bison football program.
You just can't stop the tide. Rick Springfield and Yannick Bassan in the all-new High Tide.
Catch High Tide Mondays at 10 on PCTN.
13 G.A.R. holding on. There's been one skill player for G.A.R. that stepped it up, Tony Falcone. The Grenadiers have got a lot of skill players with a lot of talent, and I think sometimes Tony Falcone gets mixed up. Players forget about him. The Cavaliers won't forget about him.
Flags are thrown. And we'll wait to sort this out. I have a hunch it's going to be coming back. That was Bob Wickizer on the return. It was a good return out to the 40-yard line, but flags were thrown back at the 30. So let's wait on this one. It looks as though they're going to bring this back. It's probably a post-possession foul. That's what it's going to be. And it will move the football all the way back to the 15-yard line.
The 15-yard penalty.
Clipping on the return by Rick Kaiser. So the Grenadiers will start the fourth quarter with the football back at their own 15-yard line. Roger.
The Grenadiers 85 yards from the end zone, and what the Cavaliers want to do right here is shut down this drive. Get the football back with a lot of time. Loose football. It's on the floor. Who's got it? Games can turn on this kind of a play. They still have not made the determination. It's Scranton Prep football. Coming up with it was Chris Glenn. Chris Glenn makes the fumble recovery.
And the Cavaliers have the break. They were 2 possessions in a row where they went 3 yards and punt. Now they've got the ball down at the Grenadiers 15. Here you'll see it. The ball is loose from Harold Jackson's hands almost immediately down on the turf. And the scrum is on.
Back to live action we go. They give it to McPartland. McPartland sees a hole, still on his feet. Doesn't want to go down. Look at the job of driving by Will McPartland. Tony Falcone, along with John Hooper. And that is close to a first down. That's no big deal if you don't get the first down here, because it actually gives you an extra down or two. The spot of the football is going to be the 8-yard line. They do say first down.
It is first and goal from the 8-yard line.
So the Cavaliers were unable to move the ball themselves, but the turnover, a big hand here, the penalty on the return, and then the fumble that gave them the ball at the Grenadiers' 15-yard line.
And that is nothing but a broken play. I'm not sure if Holmes wasn't sure or if McPartland missed the hole, but it doesn't matter because Harold Jackson was there to make sure the play went nowhere. Oh, look at Jackson.
Second and goal.
Says, come to me.
And bring Hooper with them.
From the G.A.R.
Ball back on the 10-yard line, so a loss on the play. McPartland with a hole. McPartland to the 2. And McPartland shows that, boy, when he's got a hole, he can hit it in a hurry. And that's exactly what he did. Watch how quick. Boom. Looking to protect the football and then runs over a tackler and all the way down to the 2-yard line. Stopped on the play by Kevin Doherty, who saved the touchdown.
McPartland has his second win going here in the 4th quarter. Knocking on the door again with 9.5 minutes to go. G.A.R. leads at 18-13.
McPartland, touchdown.
All-power runner again from the 2. McPartland takes it in just like Harold Jackson took one in earlier for the Grenadiers. It's a power runner, and in he goes. 19-18 now. The Cavaliers back on top in this seesaw action. And this is just the opener, folks. We've got a whole season to go yet.
Remember a couple of seasons back where we had games that came down to almost the last play or the final series before being decided, and that was for the entire season.
The Cavaliers will attempt a 2-point conversion.
And right here, Tony Cantafio has absolutely nothing to lose by going for 2. 2 would mean a field goal would tie. And is not going to go anywhere. The point after fails, but the big thing is the Cavaliers score the go-ahead touchdown. It's now 19-18. Here with 9 minutes and 20 seconds left to go in the ball game.
The Cavaliers of Scranton Prep 19.
G.A.R. will get the ball back with 9:20 to go, trailing 1 point. Scranton Prep with the touchdown following the penalty on the punt return by the Grenadiers. Took the ball to the 15, and Harold Jackson fumbled on the first play from scrimmage. And we're getting ready for sports trivia coming up here in a few seconds. So everybody start their trivia going right now. Roger, do you have the sports trivia?
I believe I do. Well, PCTN, along with the Pocono Spa Factory Outlet, Cook's Fitness, and Command Post are teaming up to bring you tonight's sports trivia.